Because as Tony Atwood says, the main advances have come not from the research literature but from conversation and discussion with those who have Asperger's syndrome by reading not the scientific textbooks but their autobiography. My greatest knowledge of Asperger's syndrome has come from those who have it, and that's why I'm here today really, because undoubtedly, as he says, my greatest knowledge comes from my personal history of Asperger's syndrome. Now, this is me when I was 3.5. Now, a few interesting things had happened by this time in my life. When I was 18 months, I went for the standard MOT test for babies to check that everything was going okay and everything like that. Clearly it was not, because I wasn't talking, I wasn't interacting with the world around me and associating with the world in the way babies should at that age. But the findings at that time were inconclusive. And then I was rechecked again when I was 3.5, around the time this was taken actually. And then the findings again were inconclusive. And then I had another check when I was age 6, but the findings came across something new at this time. I did have something, but it was not autism, it was dyspraxia, which I partially have a coordinational difficulty, and then I was diagnosed as dyspraxic for the next 7 years, and I am going to tell you now how I came to have Asperger's syndrome in the formal sense of the word. Now, this is my assessment feedback from St George's Hospital when I was age 3.5. My articulation was very unclear, and I had a very limited range of sounds according to this, and I had a short attention span, and when he's working on tasks that interest him, he's not easily directed to new channels. His emotions are not always appropriate, and there is a degree of gaze avoidance. It's hardly positive reading at this time, but I'm getting on to the good stuff. Bottom 2%, don't worry, he's bound to get statement support. He's well within the bottom 2%. Oh, God. Help for education officers, my parents' last 4. Now, square pegs into round holes. This is me trying to knock some pegs into round holes, and this serves as a perfect metaphor for the life of somebody with autism, really, in that we are often misplaced for it, and we are put in categories we don't need to be put in, you know, such as this picture says here. I was misdiagnosed really early on, you know, and the mistakes that got made with that, so I was put in a hole that I shouldn't be, and many others have been put in the same position, in that they are given a general classification and there's no individualisation whatsoever, you know, and there needs to be individualisation in terms of how we view autism on a personal level. We need to look at the individual, not the person with the classification, and not to look at it from a textbook point of view. So that's what this slide perfectly illustrates, really. Now, tailored school reports. Sean has had difficulty in understanding what is expected of him, sentencing an already established daily routine. Sean demands, expects instantaneous undivided attention, knows how to get it. Sean is quite reluctant to try new tasks, pressure to be put on him to try. He's made little progress with reading or writing. He has a great difficulty in learning how to cope as one of a group or class. This is obviously a great problem to a class teacher, even an experienced one. It's going to take him a long time to settle to the expectation and discipline of school life. As you can see, my reading's come on a bit since then. Now, 2 years on, it's a slightly different story. It says here, Sean is a prolific reader who enjoys books very much. Sean is a naturally inquisitive child. Sean loves to work on the computer, learning about people, events and artefacts from different locations and from the past has caught Sean's imagination. Sean's contribution has been an important aspect of class discussion. Sean is a happy, well-behaved, polite and helpful boy. Sean has worked very hard and is an excellent year 2. Well done. Now, this is not just a teacher giving me a nice report, you know, because I'd had a good year with him. He is keying into key strengths 20 years ago. He is, such as my love of working on the computer to learn about people, events and artefacts from history. The study of history, essentially. It's something that stays with me to this day. The only problem was the fact that the knowledge was not passed on to the next teacher. You know, there needs to be a baton passing, like saying what, you know, somebody like myself is doing right, you know, instead of, you know, what somebody like myself is doing wrong, really. So, you know, I think if that were to happen, there would be a change in terms of how we treat Asperger syndrome and how we treat the people behind it, really, you know. So I think that's what needs to change in that aspect of education. So this is my second assessment.